Hello. Hello to Lori, Nirvani, Joan, Karen, Nikita, Frederica, Christine, Howard, Glenn, Elizabeth, Imelda, Melody, Ashley, Adam, and Taisha. I am Professor Zachary Berman, and I will be your professor for this History 20202, the 20th century, this spring 2014 semester. Today is Sunday, January 26th, and your semester begins tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So I'm going to assume that these are the students that are in the class for now. And if you've joined the class since Sunday, welcome. And if you've already dropped the class, sorry to see you go. Speaking of which, I don't mean to, this is, by the way, how I see your grade book. You'll see it differently, but start to get used to the idea that we have many assignments in this class, and each one, this is the first week, this is the second week, this is the third week, this is the fourth week, 2 things a week, every week. A lot of things in this class. So speaking of people who might drop or add, this, you'll notice, is our School of Professional Studies official calendar. And I'd like to point out a few dates for those of you who, so you're not surprised later. You'll notice that the dates on which you can drop and get any of your money back are very, very soon. The other dates you should notice, we're not really going to change anything for our schedule except for spring break. I'll bring that up later. Our schedule will be exactly the same every week except for spring break. But the dates I wanted to point out were these dates that have to do with a W. A W grade is not something that every student is aware of, and you should be. A W grade does not change your GPA. So if you drop this class anytime between February 19th and April 24th, you can get a W, which does not impact your GPA. Before February 19th, by the way, this class can come off your transcript altogether. But after April 24th, if you're not passing, you're either getting an F or you're getting an unofficial withdrawal, which affects your GPA the way an F does. So you should be aware of that. You should mark those in your calendar, and if you get to these dates and you find yourself getting a 10% in this class, I'll try to get in touch with you, and your advisor will try to get in touch with you, but you should know that those are the dates on which you should be dropping. And you shouldn't be getting a 10% in this class. It should be no surprise to you. If you're turning in your work, you will do fine. But some students who are new to online learning and expect, well, I'll just turn in a paper at the end of the semester, I'll be fine. You're not going to be fine in this class. And there are a lot of things you're going to need to do for this class. And if you're the kind of student who puts things off for weeks and weeks, drop the class now or figure out how to do things more often. They're not that hard, you just have to do them more often than you might expect. Because my vision of how this class works is that rather than coming to class and being called on, you participate in the discussion board. So the discussion board is very important. Let me get to that. So let me get back to announcements. Let me start from the beginning, which is this is where you're going to log in. Announcements is where you're going to log in every week. That's where you start. There'll be an announcement every week, every Sunday or every Monday. There'll be a new announcement, and you will, it should be emailed to you as well. I'll do my best to do that. Sometimes in the middle of the week as well. And then these 3 folders you're going to be in quite a lot. You're going to be in every single week. Weekly topics is where you're going to find readings and assignments. Assignments is where you're going to find your one thing you do every week. And discussion board is where you're going to find your other thing you do every week. Every week you're going to do 2 things. Where's the camera? Over there. 2 things. Discussion board and another assignment. If you're the kind of student who does things when they're due as well as you can, move on, you're going to do fine in this class. If you're the kind of student who misses things often, tries to be perfect, doesn't hand things in unless they're perfect, you're likely to fail this class. So think about that. I don't grade very strictly. I don't care about grammar. I don't care about spelling. I'm serious. Give me your horrible grammar and your horrible spelling. But turn something in when it is due. Because especially the discussion board, which is 42% of your grade, I consider that to be participation. If you turn it in late, you're not really having a discussion. You're just showing me something, but it's not discussion. You're not going to get a passing grade if you don't do it on time. I'll explain how that works next week. But so weekly topics is where you'll go every week, and you'll find this week is introduction, so this week there isn't one of these, but every other week there is a folder. In fact, I'll make a folder for this week just to make that clear. But there's a folder for every other week with, in it, here's, let's start with week 2 because that'll be next week. In it is instructions, readings, your due dates, which will generally say Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. There'll be a link to a lecture, which use as you find it helpful. If you find these lectures horrible, hey, I'm not keeping track if you're watching them, but I think they are great lectures, and I think you should at least give them a shot. You know, watch them while you're doing something else. And often there'll be a link to the discussion board and the other assignment. They don't always get here. So this is just a link so you don't have to go into these other folders. That'll make sense down the line. But so every week you'll probably have to go into the weekly topic folders. You'll have to go into assignments to see what your assignment for the week is. The assignment folder should be pretty straightforward. This is due the February 1st. That's Saturday. And this assignment should be fairly clear. Follow the instructions. I'm asking you to write 400 words. If you write 200 good words, that'll get you a good grade. If you write 100 brilliant words, that could get you a good grade. Don't wait till you have 400 words and turn it in a month late. I'm asking you to think about what Wikipedia means. We all use Wikipedia a lot. I'm asking you to think about what it means and how to use it. And every week there'll be another assignment. 5 of these are blog entries, which I'll get to how to do those. And then towards the end of the semester, they're paper-related things. I break down the paper process into many steps because I know students get intimidated by it. So that's that. Every week, something in this folder. You'll see these are all 7 days apart, these due dates. That is, things in the assignments folder are just over half your grade, and discussion board is the other almost half. In the discussion board, you won't see all this. You will see open questions, which is an amazing resource. Use this. Post your questions here before you email them to me. Not because I'm lazy, because you're more likely to hear from one of your classmates quicker. If it's 2 in the morning, I'm probably not online, but probably one of the other 15 people in your class is. And maybe they understand. So post here. I should get an automatic email about this, as you can get if you'd like. You can subscribe, or post here and email me both. But if you have an important question, don't just email me. Also post it here. It's a great resource. Help each other. This is the part of class that's like when you step into an in-person, a brick and mortar regular class, and you sit next to somebody and the professor hasn't started talking, and you ask them a question about something, how this assignment works, how this something works. This is the informal part of the course. This will not impact your grade. Be open here. Anyway, that's open questions. Oh, I might add, Lori in this class took a class with me before and did well. So if you have questions, might be a great resource too. But I think if you just ask your questions there, you'll be fine. You'll get good answers, and again, they respond usually faster than I do. That's discussion. Oh, the other thing in the discussion board you'll see is the introductions forum. Your main post is due tomorrow. I'm assuming you're reading this on Monday. Tomorrow. But the real deadline, every week there are 2 sort of deadlines and 1 real deadline. The 2 sort of deadlines are Tuesday and Thursday, and the real deadline is Saturday. Saturday at 11:59 p.m., this discussion board will close, and you can't submit after that. And after that, I will grade it eventually if you turn it in. First I have to grade it and then reopen the forum, and then you'll get partial credit. You'll get most of the credit if you turn things in by Saturday. And you'll get all the credit if you turn things in by Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday and you turn in reasonable things. So that's that. What's due tomorrow is just you rambling on about yourself for a little bit. You don't have to answer all these questions. You can answer one of these questions. You can answer two of them. It doesn't really matter. Just post something about yourself. But try to make it 400 words. Ramble. Don't worry about spelling and grammar. Next week, week 2, this is the way most weeks will operate. There'll be a question. You'll answer it. They'll tell you what to read. Maybe it'll. They don't always tell you what to read, but there'll always be a Tuesday, a Thursday, and a Saturday. Tuesday, Thursday mini deadlines, and Saturday the real deadline. By Tuesday of each week, you're going to post something. By Thursday, you're going to comment on 3 people's postings. And on Saturday, you're going to respond to people's comments on what you wrote. So it's a discussion. If you just post, you get about half the credit. If you just post a what I call a short essay or an analysis. Don't worry about this. When I say short essay, don't worry about the format. It can be 1 paragraph. It can be 6 paragraphs. It doesn't really matter. Just I want something that it can have rambles in it. It can ramble on, but try to have an introduction and conclusion sentence, or a couple of words that introduce and conclude. But it does not need to be a formal essay by any means. I'm going to go over all this again and in writing, but sorry, I'm sort of rambling here. So that's these 3 folders, which you'll be in a lot every week. Course information is a folder that you'll want to look at this week. I'm going to replace this with the video I'm making right now. Formal syllabus, various resources, a link to my grades, though that should also be available elsewhere. That's that. Your professor is a little bit of information about me, not much. ePortfolio is we're going to get to that in a couple of weeks, but you should have an email with a login. You should log in. If you want to move on further with that process, look at the instructions in here. This is also, up here is a link to the ePortfolio Center. They're super, super helpful. If you have problems with the ePortfolio process, that software, ask them first. Ask in the open questions forum, and then ask ePortfolio help, and third come to me, because these are full-time people that only do ePortfolio. They really understand how it works. I sort of understand how it works. I can do it, but I'm sometimes not clear on how it works. This calendar has worked sort of well in other semesters, maybe not so well. It's a Google Calendar. You shouldn't need that because all the assignments are here and here and here. You should not need any of the calendar things here, but if that helps, look at that. And tools should have my grades and other tools. These are the same all over CUNY School of Professional Studies. Tutoring is there. If you need it, use it. Various services. Don't let your professor be your only resource. Use me as a resource, but don't let me be your only resource. The advisors at CUNY School of Professional Studies are amazing, and you should tell them first whenever you have a personal issue. If there's one assignment you're having trouble with in a class, come to me, go to open questions. If you're just behind because you took too many classes this semester, go to your advisor first. If your mother's in the hospital, go to your advisor first. Let your advisor contact me. It's much more professional that way. It's much more responsible, and we want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So that would be really helpful. I don't think you have this control panel, so don't worry about that. This is the instructions if you want help with how to use Blackboard. This is Newman Library, which you're going to be using for research. So for now, you should have a login. Just make sure you can log in. And that's about all I have to say for this, except for the fact that I'm sorry this has taken 15 minutes, but I've done this in one cut. I've not edited this at all. I have not paused it. When you do your paper presentation around the 1st of May, and this is a long way off, I don't want you to spend a lot of time editing it. You could spend 5 minutes recording this and then 5 hours editing it and to make it look good. And I don't care if it looks great. You know, you don't have to put on a tie. I'm your professor, so I did. But look, my regular life is behind me. There's like my fish tank and wall, whatever. So like, film it wherever. Show me that you are you. Let me hear your voice. You can record it on your cell phone if the computer recording aspect is overwhelming. Yeah, so there's that. So week 1, welcome to all of you. Get going with putting your introduction in there now. Welcome.